Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world, hello, welcome back to a Friday edition of The Watch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise wherever you are, clap it up, get excited. We are here to end your week off strong on this Friday afternoon where you all control the whole of the conversation on this championship rounds edition of The Watch Report. We do this every single Friday and every 3 days out the week. We are here talking about the world of boxing and beyond, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. And today you all control the whole of this show with you all's topics, questions, comments, debates, concerns, and all of the like. We want to hear from you in every regard regarding boxing and beyond. And we got a whole host of news that we need to discuss today, like with Boots Ennis has officially said he's moving on from the world of Vergil Ortiz and their fight. And now the speculation is ramping up with, again, going back to what Eddie Hearn said earlier, they got to make a decision on making a move. Well, they made a move, and they ain't looking for the Vergil Ortiz fight. Now they're going forward, and potentially championship aspirations are the next window of opportunity for them to try to control and take hold of in their own career. We're going to talk about what fight can be for that type of fight, what that fight could be for the greatness that is Boots Ennis in his essentially the prime of his career, as well as Ben Rodriguez. That's right, Jesse Ben Rodriguez, one of the 4 best boxers in the world, has now officially moved up to bantamweight. Oh my, indeed. We're talking about somebody who we've been waiting to finally get in the mix of the bigger weight classes because of the potential of him versus Junto and or him versus Inoue in that triangle of kaiju level offense and destruction that each opponent can do against each other. Oh, we want to see it. We can't wait to see it. And now we're one step closer. And we're going to talk about that fight and so much more right here on the show. But before we even get started, hey, leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Come on. Leave a like. One like does a world of difference for our stream and for our show. Also, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come on and join the empire. Be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. And please be sure to do the most important thing, which is to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. All with you and your support, we can make it possible to grow bigger, better, stronger, and even more entertaining for all of you tuning in from around the globe. Yes, indeed, we got people from the UK. We got people from India, Japan, China. We got people from Mexico. We got people all across the globe that love to see this show, love to be a part of our regime, and we want you to be a part of it as well. And if you haven't joined, be sure to join, because I'm telling you, you won't want to miss what we got going on each and every day out of the week. I promise you it's going to be a joy to have, and I can't wait to see you, or I can't wait to have you be a part of our community, no question about it. But with all that being said, we got so much to talk about. We got sports to cover. Oh, well, actually, one more thing. If you would like to support the channel, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as Super Chat, Super Gifts, stickers, and the like through the little $ at the bottom of the chat box on YouTube. If you can support the channel, it would mean the world to me, and I would appreciate it so much. Absolutely. But with all that being said, now we can delve into the meat and potatoes of this show. We got boxing to cover, we got sports to debate, and we got fun to be had, and we got entertainment to go and spread across the globe. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to step into the ring. It is time for the championship round. Yes, sir. Come on. Let's get it started. Ring the bell. It's time to work. Round 1 of this affair. And again, if you aren't familiar, this is the championship rounds. What we do on Friday, we normally say at the end of the show, but on Fridays, we let you all control whatever topics of discussion you want to have involving questions, comments, concerns, debates, stuff we didn't get to talk about throughout the week, things that you want to question me about. Hey, if you want to test your mettle against the big kahuna when it comes to the world of sports and entertainment, I'm right here for you. Let's see what you got. And we want to hear your voices and your thoughts and your opinions. But while you're getting your questions together, we have other topics that we can indeed discuss, like with one of the biggest ones that broke yesterday. That band, well, I was going to say, I'm going to say this one for a second, because this is huge, and this did break yesterday. But the bigger instance, even bigger than Bam moving up, is Boots is stepping away from the fight with Vergil Ortiz. Oh, yes. Oh, my. Oh, it's happening. Now the road of a different story in his career is taking hold, because Jaron Boots Ennis, one of the most explosive and essentially, let's be blunt, unique stars in the sport, from his power to his physical capabilities to his speed, reflex, all that stuff. One of the future, seemingly, faces of this sport for this coming era in boxing is now moving on from the Vergil Ortiz fight, as he put on in a post on social media that I will pull up I will pull up that right now so you all can read exactly what he had to say in regards to him moving on from the Vergil Ortiz fight. And now looks to be, it's confirmed, he's going after titles galore. He's going after championships. He's going after the belts in the division. At least we can infer, and as we can see right now, as I'm pulling it up on the screen for you all to be able to see. Okay, yeah, there we go. Boom. As we delve into the world of picture-in-picture, it's essentially it's back and forth of who ducked who between Vergil Ortiz and Boots Ennis, and both of them giving reasons as to why stuff didn't go right. And as you can see on the screen per Boots Ennis and his social media, I did everything in my power to make this fight happen for the fans. I waited long enough and I stayed quiet through it all. It looks like Vergil or his team really don't want to fight. Shrugging emoji. I came to this fight. I came to his fight in his hometown, and I told him he was next. That was November. It's March, and still nothing. It's time to move on. Two division champ up next. I told y'all the truth was gonna come to light, and so that's why we say, hey, he's going for titles. And look to see Xander Zayas as the next fight in contention, or at least as next fight in the ledger for Boots to take hold and try to get in the ring with, if in fact this is the sentiment that we're going to see transpire. But that was Boots's essentially putting his foot down. We done with this whole situation. Now, Vergil, in his own response, posting on social media, or over on Twitter / X, whatever the word you want to call it, since nobody's smart enough to know how to read between the lines and see we actually tried to make the fight happen despite all ongoing legal issues, I'll spell it out for you and everybody else. A lot of y'all must have missed out on critical thinking time in school. Throwing shade to a lot of people that are saying that Vergil was the one who ducked competition going up against Boots Ennis throughout this whole diabolical situation of the suing, of the call-outs, of the Errol Spence debacle with him saying, I want to fight Errol Spence Jr. Everything now is essentially, we're at the end of this saga. Well, at least for the time being, we're at the end of this story. And who's to blame is the question. Who's to blame is the that is the dilemma in this whole arc that we've seen with Boots and Ortiz. And it's a shame, because this was a fight, not just a fight, the fight. That was one of the biggest events I was waiting to see. I wanted to see it. We all aspired to see these two finally get in the ring, do work against each other, and go blow for blow, head to head, in what was going to be not only one of the most entertaining fights in the world, but also was going to be a signifier of not just the next era, but a validation of the talent that we were seeing for both of these fighters. Mind you, Vergil Ortiz never been a champion at 154, though he had been one of the best in the division for Lord knows how long. Boots Ennis, he had been a two-time champion at 147, the unified champion at 147, beating Stanionis for the second belt before moving up. But this is where the real test of he's going to meet somebody that is up to his own caliber. The metal of his skill set was going to be put through the iron, or rather put through the fire in this division, with Vergil being the biggest man to prove yes or no, is he about this life or not, as his skills are indeed this good on a world level. All of that was going to be answered, and now sadly it ain't happening. But who is to blame in this regard? And many people have a lot of different responses. I feel that, in all honesty, both people are right. And we've been covering this fight for a long time, and I feel that both fighters are correct in their sentiments. Boots did want the fight. Boots did call him out. Boots did do the work to make sure that this fight was going to take place, even with the tune-ups that many people, myself included, said, I don't want to see more than one. Even with that being the case, he did stay to his word. He stayed true to what his claim was. He did what he said he was going to do and never backed away. And he said, instead, he stood on business, essentially. Let's call it what it is. He stood on business of, I want Boots, or rather, I want Ortiz. I want this great work. I want to go against competition. And so, don't pass me by. That's what he said, and that's what he stood on, which I love. Because of that, we cannot hold Boots responsible for this fight not transpiring. We can't hold Boots responsible for the reason why this fight fell on essentially rocky ground. We can't. It's not his fault. It just ain't. It's not his fault. Because he went at the test. At the same time, Vergil Ortiz did not run from this fight. Be clear. Even with him saying he wanted to fight Spence as a dream fight after we got called out from Boots Ennis, he did say that you are next, and he did agree, yes, I'm going to fight you next in the center of the ring, in response to Boots stepping up and calling him out. He did. And even subsequently after the Errol Spence situation, what did he do? Went out to negotiations with him and his manager. It was Oscar De La Hoya who came in and gave an ultimatum of make a deal by this week and or with this amount or we're walking. And that was something that Vergil and his manager did not say that they should do. And hence, because of that, boom, you make me miss out on money, and you messing up these negotiations. Hence, you trying to sabotage our money. Hence, I need to get out of this contract, and I need to get from under Golden Boy. We can't make this happen because I want this fight. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And then what we saw transpire, court shoot for De La Hoya. Vergil ain't getting out of his contract anytime soon, so fight can't be made, and so we ain't getting the fight. But it's not because Vergil didn't want it. But I'm not throwing shade at anybody that's having the feeling that yeah, Vergil is you are the person that caused everything to fall asunder. I'm not going there. Because we have covered and we understand the truth of the matter. We do. We absolutely do. Also, real quick, before I do, I forgot to open my window to let in some of that natural light. Give me 1 second. Hold on. We gotta make sure we still look good. Hold on a minute. Wait a second. Look at it. Stare in wonder at the world outside. I'm telling you, it stopped raining. It stopped going through. I'm sorry. I love opening the window because it gives me a sense of even better textures of how I look and how I be. And I'm telling you, hey man, I gotta make sure I'm looking fresh and clean, if you know what I mean. And so I use the window and the sun as kind of that natural source of lighting. Give it a little more pop, a little more pop and circumstance, a little more flair to the events that we're doing right now on the show. But even still, I digress. Point being, neither of them ducked each other. This fight in part was done was not done because of outside interference, which is a shame. And no, probably, which is with how this is going, most likely no time soon, we're going to get this fight. Probably not until next year, maybe late next year. If it happens, I can't even say next year. Depending on how long Vergil Ortiz's contract is still going with the likes of Oscar De La Hoya, who knows how long this fight could be before we actually get him out of Golden Boy and under a new promoter. Understand? And let's not forget, For those of you that are saying that Vergil was the one that ducked this fight, roll the clock back just a little bit to earlier, I think it was last year, when Boots initially had won the championship at 154 and was talking about, I want to move up, I need to move up to a new division, and I want to get a championship. During the whole tune-up talk and aspirations, it was indeed Turkey Al-Sheikh that had offered him to fight, not just with Boots, but with an abundance of other people. As if you move up and get into stiff competition now, we got a plethora of options to go and get you in the fight with, including Vergil Ortiz was one of those primary names that was going to be on the docket. If you don't believe me, I'll even let him show you himself. As again, we keep the purchase receipts of what happened during this whole situation. Because mind you, we covered it on this show, literally beat by beat as it was going on. He was going on the Boxing Voice podcast. We played this clip when it first aired, and it was Turkey said, "Hey, we could make this fight right now. We could get this fight going right now if you don't take a tune-up and you come through and you fight with the ring at this moment in time." But he signed with Matchman. I'll even show you the clip myself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. As we transition back over into the world of picture-in-picture, here you go. Turkey offering the fight in the initial situation of Boots wanting to move up to 154, but Boots saying he needed, at that point in time, 2 tune-ups before he could make a fight.
But as an Ennis...
Wait, hold on. Time out. It is muted. Hold on a minute. There we go.
But as an Ennis, this is the first time between me and he doing business. He asked to go to 154 and have tune-up fight first. I am not charity. Go do it with Eddie, the tune-up fight. And if you're ready, you will have in my side a lot of people waiting for you. You understand me? But as an Ennis, this is the first time between me.
So as you can see, he was ready, or rather there was an opening to make that fight happen. However, again, he went and took the tune-ups. And we even said on the show, hey, I have no problem with taking a tune-up at a new division. I have no problem with somebody getting his feet wet to understand the dimensions of this new frame of thinking, or rather new frame of operating when it comes to going to a new weight class, no matter how big or small the weight class may be in terms of the jump that you are taking. 2 pounds, 4 pounds, 7 pounds, don't matter. It's a different dynamic of people. It's a different dynamic of weight that you have to operate in as well as against when it comes to your opponents. At least understand what you're getting into before you fully jump into the deep end. I was not opposed to tune-ups. So I was like, I get it. But nevertheless, the option was there that we could have gotten this a whole lot quicker. Hypothetically. Regardless of which, neither of them should be ultimately at fault for why this fight didn't take place. It should fall on, again, the bulk, De La Hoya. In the bulk, going through promoters. Not necessarily Eddie Hearn in this situation, because he was coming to the table. He was doing everything he could. De La Hoya is to blame. But now that he is no longer a viable option in terms of Vergil Ortiz for Boots, well, I guess it's time for the rest of the road to come up and transpire to dominate, or excuse me, it's time for the rest of Boots' focus to be going against titles, to be going against champions, to be going and running the table in the world of 154. That would mean Xander Zayas first. Then after that, you go up and face up against Josh Kelly. Boom. 2 belts right there. Hypothetically. At least on paper. At least on paper. Those are 2 fights that we could see made happen. At least on paper, those are 2 fights that we could understand as, if it takes place, we get it. And it would mean a world of elevation, as well as validation, as well as just straight up power, which is something that, again, every fighter wants and needs, even the likes of Devin Haney, even the likes of Terrence Crawford, Tyson Fury, don't matter. Power. With those belts, does equate to something. I don't care how much you think somebody can sell by themselves, which they can. I don't care how good somebody may be, even from a talent perspective, and they are. Power is held even with the whole volatility of championships that we see right now in the world of boxing, which again has a lot of people going against them, which I understand. Because the belts have been what they should represent, they don't represent in the same way anymore. Especially with how the WBC's been operating. But they still hold. If you have a majority of the gold, even half the gold, all of a sudden you become a real entity. That no matter what somebody is that's going up against you, they have to at least accept, okay, he's got some chips on the table that I can't ignore, nor can I fight against in some regards. So, stuff got to shake to some degree to his will. And for Boots, that's what we want to see. That's what we need to see. Because if we don't ever want to have, or excuse me, let me rephrase it. If we never want to see this happen again when it comes to Boots Ennis, and when it comes to him having to essentially go through and deal with this type of problem, this type of frustration, this type of outright stonewalling to some degree, get yourself some titles. Get yourself some titles and make it do what it do and make the place bend to what you got to say. That's what needs to happen, at least in my estimation. That's what I would need. That's what I would love to see take place and transpire so that we can actually have the likes of Boots be not just dominant, but get the fights and move in a way that elevates his legacy quicker, because now you can start demanding stuff that people have to start to succumb to. Because you are the man, without any debate and without any argument. Oh, man, it is what it is. Let me keep on reading. Oh, we got people in the chat. Like Al Booker, hey, brother. What's going on? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. We appreciate you being on our live stream. One of the more vocal, consistent viewers that we have on this stream. We appreciate you being a part. Been here since about day one, or roughly since day one, when we started live streaming on the show. So we appreciate you being here. And right now, again, we are in the championship rounds for the entirety of the show, as we do every Friday. You all are the driving force for what this show is going to be and what this show is going to do from the perspective of y'all control the conversation. Y'all control the outright flow of everything we have going on in this show. We want to hear from you, and please keep on liking the stream if you haven't already. Keep on sharing the show if you haven't already, and keep on tuning in and putting your questions in the chat. We want to hear from you in every regard regarding what your thoughts and opinions are in or outside of the boxing world with the news that we got coming up. And also with the news, also we have some more stuff that we can discuss, like with in the world of boxing. We want to talk about Boots taking a tune-up and why it was smart for him to do it. But we got another person who had an opportunity for a tune-up, but that bullet ain't doing nothing but taking on Big Test immediately, as we got Bam Rodriguez. Yes, indeed, Mr. Number 3 in the world, moving up and going to bantamweight. It's happening, folks. It's happening. Oh my. It's here. It's coming. We finally getting Boots. Not Boots. Bam. Moving up in divisions. Yes, indeed. If you didn't know, I even got a new transition. Hold on. Let me move it. Let me move it back. Yeah. Here we go. Let me do actual the proper transition. Yes, sir. Yeah. We got ourselves more sounds on this. I'm telling you, we're taking time to try to elevate and add more stuff to the show. We got transitions galore. We got And again, it's a proper transition because this is a brother who is a dominant figure in the world of boxing. My pound for pound number 3 fighter in the land is now going up, and he's fighting for a world title immediately in his first fight at bantamweight, taking the Inoue and Junto Nakatani route as he is going up to fight against what's his name? I believe it's Vargas. Yeah, honestly, he's going up and fighting Antonio Vargas for the WBA super bantamweight title. What the date yet to be announced, but the fight is indeed confirmed to happen. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, boy, this man is continuing under our noses to set a precedent of dominance as to having one of the great careers of this era. He's already done so much, and he's only 24 years old. And we had that, like we always ask, having this from going from, I think, 115 to 118, now bigger competition, bigger weight, bigger punchers, bigger competition. And we have to also look back and say, could what we saw with Junto Nakatani when he first moved up against the world of 122, going from 118, could this be a similar danger for Ben Rodriguez going up to 150, going up to 118 in formerly Junto's division, where Junto was reigning and ruling, which was formerly, again, Inoue's division, where he was reigning and ruling. Because all the talk about him being able to be such a dominant force and fixture has been incredible. He's even gotten praise from Shakur when they trained in the Olympics together. But he hits incredibly hard. And he's so incredibly slick. And mind you, even more than that, one of the most ever-present technical savants that we have in the sport of boxing today. There is almost no equal to his ability, to his prowess, and to his essentially, not just excitement and fun, but the ease, the flow, the grace at which he can just go and catch, shoot, slip, walk around with the greatest of it. I mean, literally, we've seen him fight some of the best in his division, some of the biggest hitters at his division formerly that were walking the park. I mean, it wasn't close. It looked like he was going through a sparring session with his coach, but in fact, the opponent was trying for their life to make something happen. And he was just with the greatest of ease. Yes, he's been knocked down. Absolutely. Who hasn't? We've seen people that have been knocked down, like Inoue, that were able to get up and do what? Destructive work. Benavidez has been down there, although I think it was from a slip. But even still, regardless of which, if I'm misremembering, I do apologize. Even still, I've seen him on the cameras before in some shape or form of regard. And got up, decimated the brother, either got him out of there or had the fight stop. We're not diminishing, he can be caught. We're saying that doesn't matter because his skill set is so transcendent. And that's the apropos word in this situation. It's transcendent. In a day and age in boxing that we talked about earlier, where people tend to fight a lot of times in the same way, styles have been constricted down to its most efficient forms. Bam is one of the few that fight in a way that, be honest, most others don't. Most others can't, even if they wanted to. And it's such a unique yet layered type of not just offensive, but defensive array. It's almost, you can't replicate, at least by most in the boxing world. And it's ridiculous. This man is still showing why he deserves to be seen as one of the more dominant fixtures in the sport. And even more importantly, brother, he can start a run that can finally get to Inoue and Nakatani. He's starting to run. It's coming. It's coming down the line. We're getting ourselves a potential opportunity where we can finally see, bam, take his place as a widely recognized, entertaining, and destructive force. We get it. He's already getting notoriety. Yes, we get it. He's already getting a level of respect. No question. But in the same way that we see Inoue as, even though he is a way bigger star, and he is a way bigger star, both in his own country and even over here in the States. All of a sudden, people know his name. It may not be what it needs to be, but if people know his name, when people bring up his name, everybody else shuts up. I've seen it. I've seen it. But I'm telling you, Bam should be held in that same type of regard. Bam should be held in that same type of ledger of dominance unequated by most in the world. The same way we talk about people like Shakur now, we should be talking about Bam Rodriguez like that now. We should. The same way we talk about Inoue now, we should be talking about Bam Rodriguez like that today. We should. The same way we eventually started talking about Terrence Crawford, which means, mind you, I was already saying this brother was a dog to the greatest degree. It took the world an abundance of time to finally catch up to that up until after he beat Spence, and then ultimately getting the full-blown crowning after he beat Canelo Alvarez. Understandable. But in that same regard of this man's a different beast that everybody, why is nobody paying attention to him in the way that he should be? We should be having that same conversation with Bam Rodriguez. There is no way I should be seeing, this is with all respect to Devin Haney, there's no way we should be seeing somebody like Devin Haney get more notoriety than the brother moving like this. And this ain't because Devin Haney ain't doing something great. We know with Bam Rodriguez, but this man literally brings every single type of entertainment value and skill set that you can imagine. He's doing it in the way that everybody says they want to see a star boxer do it. He doesn't duck. Every time he moves up, he takes on a champion immediately. He's entertaining as all get out. He's a knockout artist. He's a technical wizard. He can outbox you for 12. He doesn't get tired. He'll go to war and he'll eat blood just to go and get blood back. He will go through any sort of fire. He's never been one. He's always the champion, but he fights like the challenger. I don't understand, with everything that we talk about in the world of boxing and the issues with boxing, why he's not getting this level of shine that he should get, with everybody complaining about people like Devin Haney or saying that they don't like Shakur's style. When you got somebody right there, again, mind you, this is not me trying to diminish or go against their talents and abilities. I'm fans of both of them. I am saying the criticisms that fans have had, even wrongfully so, against the likes of Shakur and Devin Haney, Bam has been the one to fit that very, to some degree, narrow notion of how boxing should be like. That to where everything that you hate about these certain stars, this guy doesn't have a problem with at all. Yet, he's not getting nowhere close to the amount of shine and ability. That's just problematic to me. Even with Boots Ennis, even we can even use Boots. Boots is getting detractions, and I hate the fact this brother's ducking. I hate the fact that this brother is not going after a champion of Vergil Ortiz immediately and wasting time getting tune-ups at when he's trying to move up to 154. You all, the public, were complaining about that. And now we're getting Bam going after a title for the WBA championship in his first fight at a new division after dominating the previous division. And look, in 4 fights, he could get undisputed. Less, maybe. And he's going about the very way of guns blazing, no safety, and yet people still don't talk about him in the way that they should when we're talking about a star, not in the making, a star that's arrived. A star that's arrived. And crazy enough, and again, America's not the only place that boxing has existed, nor is it the end-all be-all. Absolutely. But we were holding, let me rephrase it, not we. Boxers, Shushu Carrington, some commentators, and the public at large. You've heard the argument, Inoue isn't great up until he does stuff here in the States. Inoue ain't great up until he's done something here in America. even though he's fought over here 4 times and knocked him out 4 times in terms of the opposition. However, Bam is from the States. He's from America. Or at least he fights out of the U.S. He's had his last fight in the U.S. Not last fight, but the fight with Kafu was in the States, which for a title. And he's done it multiple times before in the States. And yet people still, it's nothing. Not brought up in any way, shape, or form. The hypocrisy, to me. And the biggest thing is because, he is a smaller division fighter. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But if we're telling you this man fits the very mold that the public, forget just the skill set, the very mold of what they want a fighter to be, that I want to pay money to see, this brother is that and more, and yet you still are going through and not giving the time of day. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because I'm sick of Bam chasing the legacy every time, and you say you want to fight to chase his legacy, and then that same legacy doesn't get the level of respect from the vast public eye, and even the hardcore fans aren't telling casuals, hey man, this guy's for real. Why? Because they don't even care. Why? Because he's under 130 pounds. But everything else about him, he fits the mold of what the star should be. I'm not saying everybody's going to get the same level of shine. I understand. It takes time for stars to blossom, and I get it. Some people is quicker than others. I'm not going to diminish it. I'm not even going to diminish the fact that, yes, people do have a level of stopgap because of the amount of weight classes and the amount of fighters in the world that you can't keep up with everybody. I even am able to attest to that. I understand that. With all of that, however, we've made stars out of people that did not deserve to be one. And yet when somebody doesn't deserve it, and he's gotten the notoriety even from the hardcore public, he's not getting it, the love not getting spread and pushed throughout. It ain't. And he could be taking that position like we see with Inoue now, or with the rise of what Inoue was, we could be seeing that with Bam now. But the public ain't doing what they did for Inoue to some degree for Bam. And Inoue deserved that level of push, and so does Bam Rodriguez. And yet, nothing to this semblance. And it's like, again, a little bit of a rant. I understand. I just don't like it. Because this is huge, what Bam Rodriguez is doing. And it's just frustrating that even with what Bam is doing, we're not getting the level of, how do we say, notoriety. Not just respect, but like outright notoriety that this man should be garnering. And yet he just ain't. And I'm just, it's frustrating. But nevertheless, this brother is the truth amongst truth. Forget dominant wealth. This man is a gem. He's a diamond that still stands out. And he's a diamond that is going to keep growing. The pressure is only compounding on this man's skill set. And going up against Vergil in his first fight for a title is ludicrous, yet insane. And it could lead quickly to undisputed. My gosh, when it does, always going to be something special. And we can ask our questions. Is he going to be able to compete? Is his power going to be able to carry? I believe the answer is going to be yes, yes, and yes. Is he potentially in danger of getting caught? Absolutely. Is some of that speed backed by power going to be a little bit more challenging? Understandable. Are we going to see people have the competitive fervor and the reflexes to be able to maybe meet some of the tricks of the trade that we see Bam have? Might be. Absolutely. Could we see him get pushed in a way that maybe we haven't seen him against people that are bigger in stature and structure? Yes. Yes, that could happen. But I promise you this, it won't be nothing that he can't handle. It won't be nothing he can't handle. And this very quickly could snowball into a insane run. An insane run. In the same way that when Inoue started getting notoriety, it was from 118 to 122. And on the huge scale, this same thing could happen right now. The same thing could happen right now with Bam Rodriguez. As since he's making the jump up, the thing that people that do know about him have been asking for. Oh, get ready. Get ready. Because this is about to be, we could see some ridiculous types of fights and some ridiculous type of competition. Mind you, Science Asumi's up there. Takuma Inoue is at bantamweight and currently reigning as champion. Oh, and Takeki. What we call the George Foreman of the division. Because this man will throw bolo uppercuts left, right, and center without remorse. All three, that's just three. I almost forgot. Christian Medina. And we saw Medina go through, who did he beat? He beat, what was the buddy he beat in his last fight? I'm gonna look it up. He beat somebody in his last fight. We were like, oh my gosh, okay, Medina, this brother is legit. Currently ranked the lead by the Transnational Boxing Ranking Board, #1 in the world. Oh, and by the way, the guy that Floyd beat, Tenshin Nasukawa, who lost to Floyd in the exhibition, went full blown into boxing, and just fought Takuma, though it was in a losing effort, for a world title in only 8 fights, and he's quickly become similar to what he was in I believe I want to say Muay Thai. I think it was in kickboxing. One of those two, either Muay Thai kickboxing. Well, as dominant as he was over there, I believe like 40-something-0 or 44-1, something like that. He became, though he's not undefeated, a real dominant threat over here and a legit contender. He's up there as well. There's some names, y'all. There's some quality competition. There's some real work that we can see with Bam Rodriguez at this division. That, it could be something beautiful and something so entertaining. Be on the lookout. Do not let that pass you by. Don't let it pass you by. Because depending on how he looks here, for a lot of people, it's going to dictate exactly what we will see in a potential fight with him and Inoue. Or him and Nakatani. It could be that. Oh, and don't forget, remember, even without Undisputed, we could see Bam take on one of those two. Because when he was at 115, he was going to fight Junto Nakatani instead of Martinez. That was going to be the fight that he was going to have happen. And he was going to jump up to 118 then. He was going to do it then. And so I promise you, even without a unified championship to his name at 118, even without going through getting all the belts, he could fight one of them, Inoue or Nakatani. Probably the loser. He could probably fight the loser of that fight next and move up to 122 like that. He could probably do it. And that starts the cycle. And ultimately, him versus the winner of Inoue Junto. He gets that at 122 for their undisputed titles without going through the whole of 118. And after that, either he stays there or he moves down. Either way, we can see that fight happen. It's getting exciting out here. It's getting very exciting out here. This is a big time announcement. And I'm so happy that it's taking place. And I can't wait. I can't wait for it. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be phenomenal. And boy, if you haven't seen Bam Rodriguez, the last thing I'll say on him. If you haven't seen Bam Rodriguez, you need to watch him. You need to understand why exactly he's my third best fighter in the world. You need to look intently at what this man brings to the table and why exactly he has garnered the respect inside the ecosystem of boxing of nearly every single fighter that's seen him fight. He's a different animal than most in the sport. He's a different animal. If it ain't in a way or Usyk, even with Shakur, he's different in a way that it's almost getting close to unquantifiable. It's getting close to something that it defies logic and reason in some regards. Doesn't mean he's not vulnerable. It means that he's an enigma. Because there's been yet somebody that not only can figure him out, but can stifle him in any way, shape, or form. And it's not because, and again, he fundamentally sound as can be. Powerfully, he carries power well beyond his weight. And everything else about him is just ridiculous. Almost you want to say flawless, but dare I say, not even dare I say, I can't even say it's flawless because he can still get better in almost every aspect of his game. And he's younger than Devin Haney. Shoot, I think he's younger than Shakur. He's like 25. He's like insane. It's insane. It's insane, man. And my gosh, I can't wait to see him grow. It's gonna be so great. It's gonna be so great. But even still, I don't want to digress too long on Ben, because we still got more to come. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions, because it is still the championship rounds. To be clear, we still want to hear whatever you got to say on the show today with anything involving the world of boxing and beyond. All your views, all your comments, all your debates, all your questions. We want to hear from you in all of those respects, because it is indeed a time for you to have yourself really be not just on the up and up, but have yourself really come to your own and have some fun. We want to see you have some fun. Absolutely. Also, be clear, if you didn't believe me about Devin Haney fighting Rolly Romero, well, we just got a tweet from Devin Haney himself over the course of the week that has it confirmed. Hey, he's fighting Rolly. And I'll even show it to you right now as we can go transition into picture in picture right over. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, no, I gotta hit my, well, we'll say that for later. We'll say it for later. But either way, as you can see, just got off the phone with Louis DeCabo. Sign up for KOs, which again is Rolly Romero's Twitter handle. The ball's back in your court. May 30th, Debo is coming. And so it looks like it is in May, the end of May, Debo Devin Haney is fighting, or if we see Rolly sign, which again, Rolly wants to sign, so almost assuredly he'll sign the fight. Rolly versus Haney on May 30th for unification at 147 pounds is going down. It's happening. It's happening. Thank gosh. Thank goodness. Because this is now, like I said, sets up the road to rematch. That's what it is. It's the road to the rematch on either side of the spectrum. We are not just saying this is a rematch opportunity for the likes of Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, but this is a rematch opportunity for Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero. It is. We be clear on that. We have to understand that this is an opportunity that we could get. People may not want to see it, but I guarantee you something right now. If we saw Devin Haney somehow lose to Rolly Romero, the next fight on the docket most likely is going. Not even most likely. It will be stupid that it wouldn't be. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly in the rematch for unification on that fight, or of their fight in New York City. It would make all the sense in the world. Doesn't mean that people want to see it. I don't know. If Rolly beat Devin Haney, I would assume people would start saying, you know what? This Rolly who beat one of the best technical savants in the game, going up against the Ryan Garcia that looked like he was the kryptonite for Devin Haney, and he beat him before, I want to see them, if it's a fluke or not, running back and let's see what goes through. might have more intrigue than we may assume. But even still, it's an opportunity nonetheless to have two roads to redemption. But either way, what somebody even said over yesterday, Devin Haney was ducking. No, he's not ducking. This is what I was saying. He didn't duck anybody. He is going after both fighters, Rolly and then Ryan, in September. Algiers Stadium, September 5th, is not just a fluke done by some regular, or not regular, but by some parody account and or stand account for a fighter. We know boxing fan accounts of a specific fighter. It was Devin Haney's own promotional thing or promotional team. This is the road to, and it's good because he's sticking with the tenure of what we know about Devin Haney. He does not run from the competition that we want to see him face, nor the competition that needs to be faced on the side of Devin Haney. He doesn't. And because he doesn't, taking him up on. So I'm excited for it. But just as you can see, just to confirm, it is happening. And because it's happening, we are going to get ourselves one or two rematches happening. And one or two things transpire. Devin Haney and Ryan, or Rolly and Ryan. One or two is going to happen. And I really do hope, and this is personal opinions on the side of Devin Haney. The public most likely is picking Devin Haney to win this fight easily. Most likely, almost assuredly, they're picking Devin Haney to win this fight. I'm about positive. I'm about positive. They're picking Devin Haney to win this fight without remorse or recourse. No backtracking, no concern. Straight up, they're picking Devin Haney to win this fight. I would be shocked. If they didn't. At the same breath, I do not need to see Devin Haney handle Rolly strictly with boxing. Though that's what we will see most likely from Devin Haney. Not just because I want to see him live up to the moniker of Debo Dev, as he's being called now, by the widely populated fandom in boxing. Started by, crazy enough, Showbiz the Adult, another prominent podcast, and analyst at this point, full-blown analyst. We had to call him. And credit to him. Hey, hopefully I can get in your shoes and do the same thing. Hopefully. But congratulations to you nonetheless. Did the work. And you got there. Hey, yeah. Beacon that we can all try to follow. At least here in my position. Now I know it's possible. But he got there. And he got that moniker. And he, in terms of Devin Haney, now has people saying, this man's a bully. Not just a weight bully, but an actual physical. He can bully you wherever he wants to go. So, against Ryan Garcia, people are now saying after that fight with Mario Barrios, you're going to need to be that type of bully because you can't do that against Devin Haney. Or rather, Devin Haney can't do that against Ryan Garcia. The one thing that's been the big reason why I've been saying maybe Devin Haney might struggle again going up against the likes of Ryan Garcia. Because if he looked eerily similar like he looked in the fight with Barrios that he did against Devin, well, we can see the same thing happen again. And he just bum rushes him, overwhelms him, counters him with the hook. Now that he's got a right hand, he can use his right hand now and go land either over the top or straight through the guard. He's got two weapons he can use now, which is insane to say. Though it sounds simplistic, it changes the whole dynamic of the fight. He's going to do that same thing again to Devin Haney. That's what some of the public is saying. Because they say, and what I've said before, they're saying the same thing I've said before. Devin Haney cannot take physical pressure if you can overwhelm him physically. Because if he can't operate within the dimensions of no matter how I fight, I'm still bigger than you think. And I am stronger than you expect. And I can do what I want to do with more unimpeded resistance because you can't beat me with my physical stature. All of a sudden, you nullify that. You nullify half of his game. Part of the reason why, like we covered earlier, the Lomachenko fight was so close was because Lomachenko got around the jab and the length of Devin Haney. And once he got that, and he was able to, okay, we're working on the inside now where you don't want to be, and you can't tie me up physically. All of a sudden, Butler started coming back in the second half of the fight, and arguably won the fight. And Devin Haney had to brawl his way to a controversial victory, though it wasn't one of the fights of the year. And when Ryan Garcia did that same thing, put him down 4 times. Especially with added size and added power and all that stuff. Boom. We need to see Devin Haney be this physical, demonstrative fighter. We need to see him be that. That's the thing. Be serious. We have to be serious. And I'm not trying to say this as a just detraction. I'm saying we got to be real. We need to see Devin Haney be this demonstrative bully against Rolling Around. We have to. We need some proof that at least in this regard, you are on a consistent basis. You can be this type of demonstrative fighter, this imposing force. Because you knocked down Brian Norman Jr. You hurt Brian Norman Jr. You could have knocked him out. Like we said, you took your foot off the gas. And some people were saying you could have gotten him out of there if you kept on being, okay, we're going to really look to land the leather and be this imposing big body type of figure. Not saying compromise your style. We're saying show that you can be that more than once in a blue moon. I'm not questioning that you don't have power. I confirm you got power. But like I said, what I said in the past still stands. You have only shown that you can do this every so often. You fought great against Progress. And then we didn't see that for a couple of fights. And then you did what you did against Brian Norman. You had an overhand KO that everybody was also shocked with earlier in your career. And then afterwards, we didn't see none of that. And the best performances that we saw was, or in turn, the other performances were the Kambosos fights. We was like, oh my gosh. The great things about what you've done are indeed still there. It is the issues, or rather the lack of consistency in that regard of your physical presence being a bigger part of your game than what you've normally done. That's where the problems arise for us going up against this fighter in Ryan. Shoot, it can even be a problem with Rolly. Can we talk about how Rolly is incredibly strong, incredibly fast twitch, incredibly explosive, and incredibly unique and unorthodox? Very strange. That's the best way to call it. Strange. He's a strange fighter. Rolly's a strange fighter. That's not a knock. That's what he is. Literally. That is what Rolly is. He's a strange fighter. He doesn't do stuff on the normal thing. On the normal scope of boxing. He doesn't do stuff on the normal trajectory of what a fighter is supposed to look like. He's awkward. He's weird, but it works because he's that. And he's got enough power, he can make you afraid. Because he made Tank afraid. And Tank said it, like we covered yesterday. He made Tank afraid of the pop and the power that we saw in the world. Sorry about that. He made Tank afraid of the pop and the power that we saw Rolly bring to the table. He did. He said, I was concerned. That man can hit. It's one of the hardest punches I face. Ryan doesn't do good with people that can actually punch, let alone punch and have the speed. I can at least, I'm faster than Jose Ramirez trying to reach you, even as a shorter fighter. Even if I'm able to hurt you through your block, he can do it. And so we need to see that he's able to some degree, fight that power with power of his own. Fight that power with power of his own. That's what I would like to see. That's what I need. I'll be honest, that's what I need to see. If I'm watching Devin Haney before the fight with Ryan Garcia, I need to see that. If I see that, great. Phenomenal. Impeccable. Impeccable. But if I don't, there might be some concerns that you beat him. You were the better boxer. You were the better fighter. But this might not work against Ryan Garcia. It might not. Because the one tangible thing that we needed to see was the consistency of Debo Dev being Debo Dev against somebody that if you can overwhelm him with strength, it would be impressive in Roller Romero. Chances of you fighting and beating Ryan Garcia in some people's eyes may shift. Though we can say he looks like the better technical fighter, Ryan Garcia's skill set has been able to be, because I'm such a big and intimidating force, I can overcome that. And I can overcome you. And I can do what I need to do against you, even though you can box better than me. Because you can't stop my pressure. And so, it could be concerning. It could be concerning. Could be concerning. But nevertheless, the fight's happen. And I'm excited that the fight's happen. And be prepared to watch out for that when this fight happens on May 30th. Because this is more than just a championship opportunity for unification. This is a test. This is a test to some degree of what we will see Devin be against Ryan Garcia. Because the two opponents are completely different. There is a similarity that they both share in terms of physical acumen that we need to see Devin Haney have for the entirety of the fight, not just one half, like he did against Brian Norman. Of, I can do this for 12 instead of do this for 6 and then sit on a lead. Be that imposing Debo Dead that we talk about, that you've even embraced. Be that. And prove us right. Because if not, there's going to be some concern. I promise you that, no question about it. But even still, we want to still hear from you. It's still the championship rounds, y'all. It's still your voice to be heard and your conversations to be had on the world of boxing and beyond. Real quick, let me make sure that we got the stream still up and running. Periodically. Again, like I said, I'm one man band, so I'm trying to make sure I'm my own producer and host and entertainer and news outlet. So I'm wearing a lot of hats over here as I'm trying to be discreet, but sometimes you just gotta say straight up, give me 1 second. Woo. Okay. All right, we're good. All right, we're good. And we're good with that. And I got my post out. We're good too. Okay, everything's okay. We get stream's good. My post is sent. Everything's all good. More people know about the show. We moving good. We're moving good, and we're moving just fine. But as we continue to go through and talk through on the show, with more things still with more things still to cover, we still would like to hear your thoughts and opinions. Please keep on liking the stream, keep on sharing the show, and keep on telling the globe what we got going on right here on the YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. And hey, shameless plug, if you want to support the channel, like we said before, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats, super gifts, stickers, and the like. If you so choose to be a part of our regime, we appreciate it oh so much. But even still, as we're continuing on with the show and continuing on, with the rest of our topics of discussion, we did want to say something about, where is it? Is it Tim Tszyu? Yep, Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu talking about getting ready for his fight with Errol Spence Jr., talking about how he's been prepping and training, getting more acquainted with this trainer, and it builds up to more conversations. How will he fare against Errol Spence Jr.? And is he too far gone that he's not even at the Errol Spence level of perceived talent? We're going to talk about it after the clip as I play it for you right here on stream. Let me actually go and pull it up for you right now. There we go. Let's transition over into picture in picture. Let me go on and show you what he had to say.
I do have a
There we go.
question. Why did
Hello? Wait,
Why
hold
did
on.
he-
Hello? Is it not going? Okay.
I do have a question. Why did he want to take a tune-up fight before the possible Earl Spence fight?
Well, first of all, I like to stay busy. They predicted Errol Spence for like later in the year. So for me, I've never been about waiting, and I've always about staying in the gym, doing another camp, and for me, it was about getting the chemistry again with my coach, with Pedro, and just learning from both of each other and getting to know each other much more better.
This is in lieu of him taking his last fight as a tune-up to get ready for what he knew in his mind, or per what he said, was already going to happen with him versus Spence, which is now happening reportedly, I believe, later on in the year, this year, as Spence is coming back. But this is a good, valid question, or rather good, it's a good question to ask, because we are needing to understand, or rather, we have to ask the question in our own right: how much did this tune-up help Tim Tszyu prepare for Errol Spence? Now, on paper, yes. What have we been saying before? We haven't seen Spence back in a year. We understand that completely. My gosh, we know that verbatim. It's hard. It's terrible. From the perspective of, Lord knows we don't know what Spence is going to look like when he comes back. We don't know how much he's lost. We don't know how much is between his chin, his body, his power, his timing, all that stuff. It can be messy, legitimately. And it can be bad. It could be very bad. Even at the same breath, we're seeing Tim Tszyu getting back, still be active, even after the defeats that have had us really question, oh my goodness, hey, Tim Tszyu, you as a championship fighter may be well and good past its expiration date, and you got a lot of questions in your own right as a fighter that you need to be able to answer and improve on, just to get back into, should we take you seriously as a competitive fighter in the caliber of 154 anymore. We at least can say that he was fighting, and at least, he was active. But one of the questions we didn't get to ask was exactly the baseline and skill set that Tim Tszyu is right now, even with this activity. Has he gotten better? Has he drastically improved to the point that, yeah, we can confidently say, oh, yeah, he'll beat Spence? Because even with this activity, again, going off his recent runs of his tenure, is his baseline of where he stands right now, is it well and good above what we perceive Errol Spence as? Because I've been saying Spence may come back, we don't know what he looks like. But what do we think he's going to look like coming back into the ring? That's a question I have yet to even find myself asking. I've just said he may not be that good. Something may have been lost. How much may have been lost? What exactly is Spence's base operating tenure with the dominance that we saw him fight up until the Terrence Crawford fight? Up until that, this brother was seen as 8th in the world. Baseline, he was beating most everybody at 147 and was seen as, if he moved up to 154 to fight against Charlo, 40 at that point in time, the undisputed title, most people would say he probably would win. That was the baseline, or at least that's the upper echelon, but the baseline was most at 154 and almost all at 147 would lose to Errol Spence Jr. That was the baseline. Is Spence still at that baseline now? And have we overestimated the one defeat of Terrence Crawford, strictly being because it's Terrence Crawford, he lost like that. But everybody else, they can't do that to him. So even with us having our concerns, and validly so, validly, we should have those concerns. Maybe we should think a little bit more highly of exactly what type of Spence we're working with as he's coming back into the ring. You can talk about the layoff, absolutely. You can talk about the ring rust, no question. But he may be closer to a Keith Thurman type of comeback than a Adrian Broner type of comeback. Than that, in the way that we've all been essentially saying. He may be close to a Keith Thurman than he is to a Adrian Broner. What that means, he may be closer to coming back and having more about him, more left in the tank, more reservoirs of ability that he still is able to drink from than what we expect, even with the layoff being what it was for almost over 3 years, excuse me. He may have the capacity to say, yeah, I'm still that dog. He just may. He just might. He just might. He may have the same, he may have I didn't lose but so much, if anything at all. Now that may be a little bit extreme. The if anything at all. I think he's lost something. But I only bring this up because the more I've been thinking about this comeback, the more I've been hearing, and seeing Errol Spence in the gym, the more I've been looking at this fight as a whole, a little bit something different. Or at least something new has crept into my mind. That there may be more than in Spence than we may have all thought. It just may be. And sometimes, it's not often, but sometimes stepping away from the ring has helped other fighters. Why? Because I brought it up with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao coming back after 6 years. Yes, he was still fighting exhibitions, but in a professional setting with this type of stakes, it's a different fight. It's a different type of camp. It's a different type of all that stuff. And being in this environment for the first time in 6 years, you come back and you fight. And you all of a sudden, when the last time we saw you fight in this championship level type of competition, you even said yourself, my legs were gone. I couldn't move. I'm shot. That last phrase is a paraphrase, but that's essentially what he said. My legs were shot. My legs were gone. I can't do nothing. I can punch, but I can't fight like me. Because the biggest aspect about me is no longer valid. That's what he said. And then he comes back and all of a sudden, my gosh, he's bouncing around the ring again. Against a 6 foot tall Mario Barrios with length and reach advantages, he's bouncing around the ring, moving similar to what he was in his younger days, or at least similar to what he was during the tail end of his career when he was retaining that ability. He was actively fighting in a manner that, oh my gosh, this is not a Manny Pacquiao that is just vulnerable. This brother still got stuff left in the tank, and dare I say, stepping away from the ring helped him. It's insane. It doesn't work like that all the time. But again, it worked for Pacquiao. Everybody ain't Pacquiao. Trust me. Everybody ain't Pacquiao. But time heals all wounds is more than just an emotional help. It's more than just an emotional. I thought I heard something. It's more than just an emotional help. It can also be a physical thing of, hey, I just needed time away. And for Spence, that could be that same thing. And he could retain a lot more than we may think. I'm telling you. Also, Fredo, what's going on? Hey, Fredo, what's good with you? How are you doing? Good to see you, and thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. It is the championship rounds. We love everybody being a part of the show. We are having ourselves a great time. We are going through, again, we're doing the normal thing, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever the case may be. We got people in the chat, and we got people responding. We want to hear your voice and your conversations. All that you got to say is here today, and we got a chance to have your voice be heard for the whole of the show. You drive the conversation. You drive the outlook. You drive all of the questions or whatever you want to talk about. We still got plot points and notions and I don't want to say agendas, but more so we got a course of action that we've been going through with news involving the world of sports and boxing. But whatever you want to say, it's your day to say it. And if you want to come at me, you want to try me on some questions, you want to talk about a dream fight, you want to press me in on an issue that you don't agree with when it comes to sports as a whole, we want to hear from you and just have your voice be seen and heard for the public to see and recognize. No question about it. Also, yo, what's good with you? How you doing? Welcome back to the stream. We're so happy that you're here. We appreciate all of you showing up and showing out on our show. We got to talk about, if you are just tuning in, we talked about Boots moving on from Vergil Ortiz. We talked about who ducked who and why that fight didn't happen. We talked about where we can see Boots go and fight next. Now that he is not going after Ortiz anymore, which it looks like he's going after. Even in his tweet, he said he was going to go and become 2 division champ. So he's going for titles, most likely starting with Xander Zayas. That's what looks to be the case, starting with Xander Zayas. So we talked about that fight. We talked about the course of action. We talked about Manny Pacquiao. We talked about what do we talk? We talked about a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna lie. We talked about Ben Rodriguez moving up for a world championship. Like I said, we had our title cards right here. We had Boots moving on from Ortiz. We had Bam moving up to fight Antonio Vargas for the WBA title. His star power, his dominance as a boxer. This could set up a fight between him and Junto, or him and Inoue. The winner of that fight, even without Bam becoming undisputed, because he was already about to fight Nakatani before, and he's still gunning for both of them now. So he'll definitely move up if the opportunity opens up. But now the window is closing because they're now only 1 weight class away, all of them. And for Bam, it might be manageable. So we want to see about that. But also, we want to hear from you in every regard of the sport and just an action as a whole. But let me see what you got to say. Let me see. I don't know what you have talked about so far. Up to this point, do you think Eddie has done a good job with Boots' career? Well, okay, so this is a great question. And again, we can bring it up. We can bring it up back on the thing. And in fact, I can actually go through and use my new transitions. Yeah, as we transition forward into the next topic of discussion with Boots, Boots Ennis. And it's a good question to have because like it, mind you, the partnership just started. He signed with, the only fight he's been under with Eddie Hearn is a fight with Lima. I believe since he's said, hey, we'll agree to it. We're gonna go through fully with this new matchroom deal. So it's like, I'm not going to, at least I believe, if I have the tenure for how long they've been together wrong, I do apologize. But I don't think that Eddie Hearn has done a bad job, because look at where Boots is right now in the global appeal of the boxing sphere right now. He's getting talked about on ESPN. He's getting talked about by most of the boxing public as, we want to see that fight. He almost got the fight with Vergil Ortiz, and that we were saying that we don't know if the fight was going to happen. He made everything on his end viable to make that fight happen without any recourse. He did his job. He did do his job. I can say that firmly. He did do his job as a fighter, or as a promoter. It was just Oscar De La Hoya and the team around Vergil Ortiz messed up Vergil Ortiz. But he's now in a position where even without having that fight, Eddie Hearn made that fight, and by proxy, Boots Ennis, one of the most talked about names for almost half a year. And then subsequently afterwards, now him going after unifications, which most likely will be Xander Zayas, he's put himself firmly in the position where Zayas would be a fool not to take that fight, as well as with the money involved. And I've even said that Zayas is not ready for that fight with Boots. However, Boots' market value now is high enough that, hey, I'm young enough to where if I lose, I can get a title again. I'm still growing as a fighter. Just if I win, even better, the risk is worth the reward because of now where Boots is seen at in the public eye. And so I think even without the fight with Ortiz, Eddie Hearn has not done a bad job as a promoter. He has. In my opinion, I don't think he has. I don't think he has. And it's like, and yeah, like you said, he didn't get in the big fight with Vergil. I understand, but he's now positioned him, and the public now sees, hey, Boots won. Everybody, and more people than we thought knew his name. And two, Eddie Hearn, with this whole situation and actively pushing for the fight, even without it getting made, has made Boots worth the risk for a lot of people that wouldn't have fought him initially. And now, even if it's not Vergil Ortiz, he can still get big fights that can lead to the biggest fight. I don't think he's done a bad job. I don't think he has. Let me see. Who do you think is more ducked or more avoided to speak, Boots or Benavidez? That's a tough question. That's a really tough question. And I'd say Benavidez. I would say Benavidez. I say Benavidez. I would say Benavidez. I would definitely say Benavidez. Why? Because Benavidez got you that star power of notoriety before Boots. And the biggest star in the world from the boxing perspective, in Canelo, still didn't want to fight him. And Bivol didn't fight him. When he's gone through he's gone through two divisions where he was the number one dude and the best champion, or the champion in both divisions. Didn't step in the ring with him. When he was one of the more known stars in the sport, even with the issue of I'm overshadowed by Canelo, he still did that. His brother was for real. And he has been ducked by two champions that were at the top of their game, and he was, in fact, the number one guy. Boots at least got his shot at 147. I think he was given one title, at 147, and then he actually at least got to fight Stanionis for the second title. He at least got to fight for the belt that he positioned himself for in the ring. Benavidez didn't even get that chance when he was the only viable fighter that Canelo or Bivol should have fought. Even with Better BF, as again, I'm down for seeing the rematch between those two, or rather the trilogy between those two fights, but Benavidez was the number one contender. And he was even made the mandatory. And Bivol dropped the belt when Benavidez was, I'm here to sign. And then got back surgery, and now he's out for a year. He's coming back, thankfully. Hopefully he's back better, but even still, it took Benavidez getting the cruiserweight before he got the shot against the at least tied for the best fighter in this division that said yes. So I can't say that he was, I think that Benavidez was more duck. There's a lot of people that do not want that type of problem. There's a lot of people that don't want that problem with Benavidez. There is a lot. Let me see. I personally don't think Rico should be allowed to fight for the heavyweight title against Usyk. And I saw Usyk gave his fighters he wants to fight, and none of them were Caballero. Will Usyk duck him? That's actually a really good question. Also, real quick, hold on. We got money. We got paid. Wait a minute. Hold on. Time out. Thank you for the $1 super chat. $1.99. We appreciate you supporting the channel. Thank you, Fredo, for supporting the channel with your $1.99 super chat. We appreciate it. Absolutely. We love it. We support it. Appreciate it. Oh, so much. Let me see what you got to say. Are you more excited for Dev versus Rolly or Tank versus Pitbull? Ooh, I'm definitely more excited for Tank versus Pitbull than Devin versus Rolly. I'm definitely more excited for that fight. And I'm going to answer your last question about Caballero. I think Caballero, if it goes through like it is right now, I'm going to delve into more with the Tank thing real quick. You had another chat before. Caballero, Usyk hasn't called out Caballero. Caballero was WBC mandatory, or was in position to have a chance at the title because he was WBC ranked. And Usyk went after Rico. Usyk said he's going to fight Rico, Wardley, and then Fury as the last three fights of his career. So it's like, I wish it was Ajit. It should have been Ajit, or at least Deontay Wilder if you're going to go give somebody who doesn't deserve a title opportunity a title opportunity. Okay, fine. Ajit, I hate the fact he's not getting the rub. If you want to call it a duck, I'm not mad at it. Though, with how Usyk's been going through his entire career, it seems wrong, but I can't overlook what we're seeing and who deserved the opportunity. And I even said, Usyk, everybody gets one if you've been going through this type of run of constant dog is who you fight. Every fight ain't going to be the most competitive affair. I said that multiple times on the show. However, does not mean that Ajit is not getting his shine as a potential champion, or at least an opportunity for that championship spot. And he should have. It's a shame. It really is a shame. And so, yeah, if you call it a duck, I'm not mad at you. I'm not. And if it goes like, shoot, man, I want to see that fight. But if it gets to the point that he doesn't fight him, I would have to say that that's the one guy that should have gotten a shot but didn't get a shot. And I've said as a champion, you're supposed to fight everybody under the sun. Because if you reign, you rule. And if you rule, you got to fight. And so I'm mad. I'm mad at. And so, yeah, if you call it a duck, I'm not. Usyk is not a ducking type of fighter. But he is, with Ajit, fighting Rico instead of even an actual boxer, instead of Ajit, who was right there. I'm not mad if you call it a duck. I'm not mad at all if you call that a duck. But even saying, you say, my bad for throwing a bunch of questions. Hey, look, look, this is what separates me from the public. I can go. I'm good. You ain't doing nothing wrong. You ain't doing nothing wrong. No shade in nobody else. But hey, look, this is what we do. We want this type of rhetoric. We want you to throw this type of stuff. We're gonna get to him. It's all good. We want this excitement, this type of fervor. You want to hear what I gotta say? At least hopefully you want to hear what I gotta say. Keep it coming. If I need you to slow down, I'll tell you. But doggone it, we're gonna run through it. We still gonna give you your money's worth. We do this. I'm telling you, we do this here. We bad out here, boy. We bad out here. It's a different world. Around here is a different world. You may, I can work like that. I'm like that, boy. Yes, sir. I'm like, okay. Let me start talking. Because the next thing you know, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna say something dumb, and everybody's gonna unsubscribe. Let me not get too high on my horse, because it can backfire real quick. But let me go through. Going back to your thing. Tank or Pitbull, I'm definitely more excited for Pitbull and Tank, because that leads to, like I said, hopefully the start of a real run at 140. With him, Cruz, Lamont Roach, and potentially Dalton Smith, and potentially Shakur Stevenson. I would love that. This is also if he stays at 140. Don't forget, there's a real possibility. We could see him not go and stay at 140 at the Cruz. He could go and not fight Lamont Roach at 140 pounds and go back down to 135 and say, I'll fight you, but you got to come back down here. That is not out of the realm of possibility. Him staying at 140 is a very questionable thing, because of what we know Tank operates under and what he said in the past, which is, y'all are too big up there. Devin Haney said it. He said, I'm too big for him at 140. I'm not going to fight you. He saw Cruz is the height or shorter of Tank at least. But anybody bigger than him, I'm concerned. There is a bunch of people that we want to see him fight, but Lord knows I don't trust him to step in the ring beyond just this one fight, though I want him to. That's the issue. That's the real question. Let me see. Truth, what's going on with you? Thank you for tuning in. We're so glad that you're here with us on today. Keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. And hey, keep on throwing some dough around if you feel inclined to on the stream. Shameless plugs. But either way, let me see what you got to say, Truth. What are your thoughts on the WBC trying to put up a belt for Benny versus Zerto? What you talking about? Now, when you say put up a belt, are they putting up, is it the WBC title? Or are they making up a new belt for this fight? If they're making up a new belt for this fight, throw it in the trash. Throw it away. Throw it away. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want a doggone thing to do. I don't want a doggone thing to do with a trinket, with a chain. If it ain't the real world title that is up for grabs, anything outside of that from the WBC, I do not care because it adds nothing to the table. If it is, again, this first time, it's the first time I'm hearing about this. It's the first time I know about this. It's the first time I've seen this. But I'm telling you, if they are putting up anything adjacent or rather anything in addition to the WBC title that is not an outright bonus for the fighter or a guaranteed shot at the heavyweight world championship if you win this belt, if you do move up, I don't care. Because it shouldn't matter, because it's worthless to the fighter and to me, and it's only a means to get more money out of the fight for the WBC. And doesn't help the fighter to me. And I hate that. I hate that. I hate that in abundance. Because it's a waste of time. Benavidez, if that happens, and if it ain't the real world championship, Benavidez knows it's a waste of time too. It's a shame. If they're doing that, it's a shame. And again, it's further makes Suleiman look like a greedy, money-hungry owner. This is not me trying to throw shade. What I'm saying, this is what it makes him look like. With everything we've seen up until this month. From Terrence Crawford, Shakur Stevenson, even with Errol Spence Jr. questioning where the money's going, and all these other semblances of examples of Suleiman operating in a way that has a lot of people distrustworthy of him. This is not helping at all. It's not helping at all. And there's no reason for that belt to be made in addition to this fight outside of straight up the world championship. That's it. That should be the only thing. Let me see WC coming up with another belt. It's only for sanctioning fees. And it's dumb. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. But let me keep on reading. I personally feel I personally don't think that the Tank Pitbull fight is a bad fight. Good fight for first fight back. Lots of fans are highly upset about it though. And it's and again, you are right about this. And thank you, True. Yeah, making up a new belt. I hate it. I hate it with a passion that they're just making a new belt because it doesn't add anything of substance in any regard, and it's lazy. It's like there's no need. There's no need for it. That's my thing. There's absolutely no need for it at all. None whatsoever. And it's like, and they know it. That's the frustrating thing is they know it. They know it, and they're gonna do it anyway. But even still, now Fredo, the reason why people are upset is because, and we covered this earlier when it was initially announced. It's because the shine of this fight is gone now. The anticipation of the rematch beforehand versus now has shifted. Because there's a bunch of other people that have fought and or beaten Isaac Cruz. He's won. Don't get me wrong. He still put up some phenomenal fights. Don't get me wrong. But people see Isaac Cruz now as, oh, okay, this time around with Tank's hands both being healthy, and with what we've seen with Isaac Cruz since he's gone and fought at 140, we aren't as excited for the rematch. And most likely, we're going to see Tank fight. And we wanted to see, this is the biggest thing, we wanted to see the rematch with Lamont over everything. Lamont was the standard of what we wanted to see fight. Because we at least were able to say that even though it was a close fight with Isaac Cruz and he deserved to get a rematch for that performance, he still, in my opinion, Tank, he did win that fight without any big objections from my end. But Lamont Roach, that's the 50-50 fight. It was like the public If you are as good as you said that you are, that's the brother at 140 that you need to go and show us that you really about that life. And even Calvin Ford, when he said we got something cooking and we got something coming up for Tank's next outing, he even said what? He said that this is going to be an easy fight. The next fight that we make is going to be an easy fight. Get Tank back comfortable. And it's made right under y'all's nose. We don't want, the biggest thing about Tank that we said, we don't want an easy fight. I'm not saying Isaac Cruz is an easy fight. He's a hard fight for anybody. But I'm saying from the perspective of talent in the same Venn diagram of your elite status, that's the only type of comp that we wanted to see. And Isaac Cruz is a good fighter, yes. But for a lot of people now, he doesn't fit that bill anymore. And so we're not anticipated of that fight. Coupled with the history, it's like, for them, it's not what they want, especially with Shakur right there at 140. And with the power that you've had as the face of boxing, like you always like to say, even though it's not true. But even still, you could have bullied your way into getting a fight with Shakur. And everybody wants to see that fight. Or any of the other champions up there. That's why people are saying, we're not really that excited for you fighting Isaac Cruz. Though it would be a good fight. And we're not upset that it's the comeback fight. We're not mad at it. But for Tank and mind you, there's a shorter leash on Tank because of the Jake Paul move. There's a shorter leash on what he can do and what he can't do in the public eye that will get praise and or fury. And because of that move, even the likes of Isaac Cruz, for a lot of people, is not in the good graces of that shorter leash anymore. And he did that he did that to himself. He did that to himself because we covered it. He ran from the challenger fighting Lamont Roach when he should have fought him because he went out and wanted to fight Jake Paul. And he also said, I'm never moving up to 140 because that's too big for me, but you'll fight at 175 to 190. Hypocrisy that has consistency leads to fatigue from the fans and untrustworthiness outright. That's what it is. Hypocrisy that has consistency leads to an erosion of trust in you. So we don't give you the grace of you can do whatever you want no more. And that's what's happened. And that, for me, that's part of the reason why I'm seeing a lot of people get mad. If it's WBA and WBO won't allow it though, but the WBC feels some type of way because it's two Mexicans fighting on Cinco de Mayo and he can't get a piece of the churro and show his belt. Well, like I said, he could have, you know what he could have done? He could, if he wanted this all Mexican war to show off the WBC belt, he would have made Benavidez the mandatory way earlier. When it came to fighting Canelo, way earlier. He could have done that way earlier. He could have, the fight to make that happen was right there if you wanted that to take place, but you didn't. You sided with Canelo and said, hey, I don't fight Mexicans because I'm trying to uplift the people. Well, as you can see right now, the public's very much uplifted with Zurdo and Benavidez, and now you ain't a part of the picture. So you doggone right. You don't deserve to get a piece of the pie. And I sure don't want to see Benavidez, if he wins, or Zurdo, give you a piece of their pie because you have worked against him for years. I don't respect that. So no, I wouldn't even accept it if I'm Benavidez. I would not even expect it. Let me see. I don't know if I missed it, but how do you see Pitbull, or how did you score Pitbull versus Roach? I think I had that fight as a draw, or I leaned towards Lamont Roach slightly winning that fight by like a round. But I think I scored it initially as a draw. I think I scored it as a draw when I first watched the fight. And it brought up questions about whether or not Lamont Isaac Cruz and Tank are all actually around the same level of skill set because the performances from each of them, with all three of them against each other, have been incredibly close. And so it's like, as a question, I'm not saying that was concretely, we can say that. I'm saying it brought up that question of Tank's caliber of talent because are they actually on his level or more closer to the level than we thought with his status as a elite fixture in the sport? And he's still elite, don't get me wrong. But I think I had that fight as a draw. I believe I had that fight scored as a draw. I got to go back and watch the live stream that we did. Hey, thank you all for who showed up to the Lamont Roach Isaac Cruz live stream. But I got to go and watch it to make sure to see what I had said. But I believe I said it was a draw. And so because it was a draw, I would not be opposed to see that fight again. I wouldn't. Now, if I want to be completely honest, I'm going to be completely honest. What I want to see, if we get Tank versus Isaac Cruz, I want to see Frank Martin versus Lamont Roach. I want to see Frank Martin versus Lamont Roach. That's what I want to see. And or Frank Martin versus Lamont Roach or Frank Martin versus Albright. Because I believe they had a draw as well. Martin and Albright. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong. But while we're getting Tank versus Cruz, get Lamont versus Albright. It might not be for a world title. I don't think Lamont's going to get a world title immediately. But in the meantime, face off against the people that Tank fought, beat them, show, okay, hey, I am still a level above. And now get yourself, when that fight does happen, you're healthy, you're fresh, you've got an even better name to further validate, hey, this man ain't no joke. And then you go and you fight Tank if we see Tank beat Isaac Cruz in their rematch. And now you got one of the biggest fights of the year, Lamont versus Tank, a rematch of last year that has the world of buzz that can happen in May. My gosh, if that happens in May, June, or July, we're talking about a summer that is going to be insane. Well, actually, no, I take it back. Isaac Cruz versus Tank, if it does happen, most likely will be in May or June. So that will probably be in June, July, August, September, October. November is probably going to be, if we get that fight, we'll get a rematch. But I won't be mad at it. Tank, Lamont, Isaac all fighting around the same time in May, June, or July. November, December, we get winner of Isaac versus Tank going up against Lamont Roach if Lamont Roach wins in his fight with either Frank Martin or Albright. Because right now, those two they might not be at the top of the division from the standpoint of name value, but they have the connections and they have the skill and they have the viability from the public because of their draw that they have with each other. That has everybody questioning kind of in that middle of the pack road to champions who indeed is or isn't above or below. That'll be a good way to stake your claim. Hey, I'm the real guy that's moving up over everybody else. I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it as a fight for me. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. But we still got the World Championship competition to go and cover. We still want to hear from you and your thoughts and opinions. Like I said, we're going as long as you all want to go. The cap will probably be 2 hours, 2 hours, 30 minutes as the perceived normal notion of when we're going to go and fight. But we want to hear from you, and however long you choose to make this show go, we will indeed, because we will oblige and capitulate to it and have your conversation still be answered, your questions still be responded to, and everything about the boxing world and beyond still covered amongst us, the fans and the viewers surrounding the boxing world. Real quick, I think I saw something pass through on an update. However, give me 1 second. Actually, before I continue my conversation, I think I saw something pass through my feed, and I want to make sure that is real. Give me 1 minute, because hold on. Like I said, I'm trying. I'm doing a multiplicity of things. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not missing something. If something does walk across my screen, my goodness. Well, shoot. Is this real? I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. Well, hold on. I saw something with Shador. And some of us are NFL fans, so I'm trying to see if something with Shador is going down. But did they just cut? Did Dylan Gabriel just get cut? Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. Is that real? You know what? I'll look that up later. We got more stuff to cover. Real quick, here. I did want to say this, because this has been a topic that's been going around for a couple of boxers. A boxer making their perfect fighter. And it's interesting because it kind of reflects a little bit what the identity of a boxer is. And also, if I'm being honest, this helps to answer some of the, or rather, add light to the question of why we see a lot of boxers today take a certain mentality of what they view as a real winner, or their idea of what boxing should look like. And I'm gonna show it to you right now. As you see with Devin Haney when he made his perfect fighter, his GOAT version of a fighter. We got more people in chat, like with Jerry. Jerry, what's good with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in onto the stream. Hola to you. We appreciate. Hopefully, leaving a like on the stream. Hopefully, you're sharing the show. This is the championship rounds edition of the Welch Report. We do this Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. But Fridays, we let the public control what we talk about on the show, and that means your responses, your debates, your questions, your concerns, everything under the sun, you all have a chance to respond with and ask me anything, whatever, movie, sports, television, video games, or the NBA, the NFL, boxing, those primary things I can cover and discuss. If you got something to say, we want to have your voice be seen and heard for the public to disseminate and respond with, and have me give my thoughts and reactions. So we appreciate you on the show. We appreciate you on the stream. But let me go through and play what Devin Haney had to say when building his perfect fighter, and it's going to bleed into a bigger conversation involving the boxing world as a whole. But let me play the clip right now for you to be able to hear.
Of course, I gotta go me. I hate to go me on the first one, but I gotta do it. Me for Jav for sure. Power. Tyson. Gotta go Tyson, yeah. Defense, Floyd. Footwork. I'm gonna go Sugar Ray. IQ. That's a good one. I'm gonna go... I go Ali. Chin. Canelo. Trash talk. Fury for sure. Jab.
Now, mind you, all the stuff of how we built the fighter. I'm not saying this try to detract the demean or do like, oh, he's wrong, he's right. It's his perfect fighter. But understand, a lot of those tools for him, why he chose those, would be to get away. His own jab, the footwork of a Sugar Ray Leonard, the IQ of Muhammad Ali, the chin of Canelo if he does get caught, and the trash talk again of Tyson Fury. Bait you, get you mad, and then be able to get out the way. And I can still land stuff. Like I said, power. Haney's identity, I sure enough ain't gonna use it like that. I'm sting you, get out the way. If you catch me, I'm never gonna get hurt. And I don't have to ever worry about engaging in that same way, even though I have the capacity to do what I want to do and put you to sleep if you had the power of Tyson, which he's had more power than we expect from the standpoint of Devin Haney. It goes back into the conversation with the Debo Dev situation. And I want to ask you, the public, this is the question for me, because I gave my thoughts. I want to ask you, the public, do you think that Devin Haney can live up to that Debo moniker? Instead of me just saying, I feel he can do this, that, and the third. I think yada, yada, yada. Do you feel he can go through and actually live up to those expectations and live up to that sentiment where I'm the demonstrative force, I'm the Terminator, at least in some regards, that I can put you in trouble instead of vice versa. I can go and apply pressure and be the man that you have to worry about instead of vice versa. And I'll be completely honest, I'm really starting to, I'm doubting we will ever see that lived up to the same regards. What's been the conversation with Devin Haney for multiple years? He can do this, that, and the third. He has more power than we expect. He's got all this latent physical ability that makes him incredible. And it does. To be clear, I am not denying that in the slightest. Be clear on that. I am not ever diminishing his capabilities. But the mindset of Devin Haney does not allow him to do any of those things in the regard that we, the public, we, the fans, would want him to do or see as the capability to do. There's no what's the best way to say this without what's the best way to say this? I know. Devin Haney's not built like that. Now, that's gonna sound incredibly disrespectful. My gosh, how dare you? How could you? How could you? What the word? What the word? But that's the truth. I mean, as we transition to another topic, I really do like those transitions. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna time them better, but they work really well. They work really well. I like those transition sounds, but. The topic is valid. Devin Haney is not built like that. I think one thing that fans are never going to get from Devin Haney is him living or walking out that nickname or walking out his potential in that regard. Devin Haney is not built like that. He will never be the fighter that you say he can be. Because that's not the fighter that he is. He will never be the fighter that uses his physical attributes in a way that he can be more demonstrative than we've all realized. He will never be the fighter that will have the physical attributes where he will live up to the power that we say is latent inside of him. He will never be the fighter that will use these physical advantages in the destructive manner that we say he's capable of. Because he's not built like that. And fans, every time we say that, what happens afterwards? Oh, he had a boring fight. Oh my gosh, we don't want to watch him anymore. His style, why isn't he just doing X, Y, Z? What's going on? Well, let's be completely honest. In part, yes, the style is what the style is. He's a defensive fighter. He wants to work off the jet. He wants to work off the back foot. He does not want to engage with you at all. Even if he knows he can knock you out and put you in and put you down. He won't try. Or at least he will only try up to a point and then stop outright. That's not what he does. It's not him. It's not him at all. But we keep on saying that's what he can be. And to some degree, people are saying that's what he will be. He's going to look like that. You saw what he did against Brian Norman in the second round, and you saw how he fought in the first half of the fight. Oh, guarantee you when he fights Ryan Garcia, he's going to look even better than that. No, he won't. Most likely, no, he won't. Because he won't keep up that moniker of boxing. Because that is not how he's going to fight. You saw what he did against Prograis. You saw how he put Prograis down twice, how he hurt him. He can do that anytime he wants. Okay, he has him, and he won't. And you need to stop holding on to that type of hope. And look at what we have as the fighter for what it is. Because the continued success of we know he has the capacity doesn't equate to he will do it. And for a lot of people, that's what they're holding on to. He will be this, but he won't. Ryan Garcia even admitted in their fight that Devin Haney hits harder than people may expect. I got caught with a shot with the left hand that was like, oh, okay, all right, this man, he can actually crack. He can actually punch. Now, I think it was that point in time when Devin Haney caught him with the left hook. He caught him clean. And Ryan Garcia caught it, and he was like, shook his head, and he was like, come on, and kept on pressing forward. But he said that punch, that had some weight to it. That was something serious. I got to be a little bit careful, or at least respectful of what he brings to the table. He's had that said by opponents before. And yet, even with that, he's never fought in the manner to maximize that, because it's not him as a fighter. It will never be him as a fighter. There's never going to come a point in time where that type of identity, that type of direction, that force of impact that we say he can bring to the table every single point in time, he will never be that. And some people, not all, but some, who are saying that's what he will be, that's how he is, he'll never be that. He'll never reach that type of height that you want him to. Because he will never change his frame of thinking of what boxing is. Mind you, we played that clip. I didn't play that clip for no reason of Devin Haney building his perfect fighter. He played that clip of the best fighter he could make. If he had all those same attributes, how would you see him fight? And it wouldn't be in the way that Ali fought. It wouldn't be in the way Mike Tyson fought. It wouldn't be in the way that Sugar Ray Leonard fought, and he chose his footwork. It would be Floyd. Not Pretty Boy Floyd. TBE Floyd. It would be Devin Haney the way that he fights right now. It would be that. Even with the chin of Canelo, knowing that he would never be hurt, he would still never fight in a way that you would want him to fight to maximize all those other destructive forces. Why? Because the one thing, he is a defensive fighter that is defensive to a fault. And to some degree, that will never change. Score, move, clinch, reset. That is what he wants. If he can chop you down, he'll go for it. But the second it doesn't put you down and keep you down, he's got a timer. You got 30 seconds to get him out of there. If he doesn't go down after that volley and he's dazed and you can't get him out of there, guess what you do? You stop. And you go back to boxing, jabbing, moving, and then resetting. That's it. But there's nothing else. There's nothing else that's within Devin Haney's game. Not because Devin Haney doesn't have other attributes, but that's not how he wants to fight. And if people keep having this delusion of grandeur as to the identity of Devin Haney, they're going to continue to be let down and continue to be disappointed and continue to have their hopes dashed or rather get frustrated over and over and over again. They will continue to get frustrated over and over again because everything about what should be for their idea of what boxing, what they think Devin Haney can look like, it will never happen. It will never happen. It will never happen. Why? Because that's not Devin Haney. And they will continue to say, why did I pay for this? Why? Because you thought there was going to be something more. Why did I give time and effort to this fight? Well, because you thought something different was going to happen. Why did I got robbed again? I'm out of $70. Why did I pay for this and I wasted my money? No, you didn't waste your money. You thought Devin Haney was going to do something different. Beyond just you wanted to see a star, you were hoping that Devin would show a level of aggression, recklessness, and power that you say that he has, which he does have, but you thought he was going to use it in a way that was outside of himself. Look maybe a little bit like Ryan Garcia. But, it's a boring fight yet again. And you expected something different. It's not going to happen. It will never happen. It almost will, unless Ryan Garcia or somebody of that ilk puts him to a point that he's got to fight back. It's almost guaranteed he'll never, and I mean ever, fight in a manner that will give you, this was worth my time. Or he fought in a way that, okay, this is what I wanted to see. If you're expecting him to fight anything else than the safety of Devin Haney's style. And until some people understand that, they're going to continue to be like, dang, I got fooled again. No, you didn't get fooled. You willingly blinded yourself. You were not fooled. You blinded yourself to what the reality of Devin Haney is. Which is somebody who he will never fight in the way that you want him to. He'll never do it. And if he does do it, he'll back off real quick. Back off quick and in a hurry. Why? Because that's not his MO. Not his MO. Not at all. Not at all. I guarantee you. Promise you. I promise. It's gonna be a scary sight. Why? Because it's gonna be scary that you're in the twilight zone. What's it gonna feel like? Because you're doing the same thing over and over again. But it's never gonna translate to something different. Because Devin Haney will not be something different. This isn't discrediting. This isn't disparaging what Devin Haney is. This is me saying fans need to understand this is who he is. And unlike Shakur, he won't change. See, Shakur Stevenson changed. He changed. He did. Shakur Stevenson changed. For those of you who don't understand, all right, for those of you who may not have been able to pick up on why they're both comparable but different, Shakur Stevenson changed his framework. He changed his process in fighting from the standpoint of what he is allowing himself to do. And though he may not say it outwardly, he's changed the way he approaches fighting because of the people around him. Terrence Crawford, SGO, Clarissa Shields. And with the added use of healing his hands, all of a sudden, you're seeing him throw leather more, sit in the pocket. He's always sit in the pocket, but sit in the pocket with a deliberate attempt of, I'm going to counter everything. And once I have you, I'm not going to just go and keep the pace. I'm going to somewhat up the pace. I'm going to fight in that demonstrative way, that physically imposing way that you want Devin Haney to. I'm going to walk you down when I have control in the way that you want Devin Haney to. I'm going to go and throw multiple combinations while applying pressure in the way that you want Devin Haney to when he's got control. I'm going to go and up my offensive output in the way that you want Devin Haney to, while still never compromising myself, but only using the whole of my skill set. Shakur Stevenson didn't always do that. At the start of his career, he did. Then when he started breaking his hands, went less and less, went with the moniker, everybody's dangerous at all times, so I don't ever want to risk nothing with nobody. He said it himself. That's what he said. But since that fight, since the Hartunian fight, we've seen him slowly but surely elevate more and more and get out of the shell of, okay, he's just a defensive fighter. Okay, man, this brother, he can scrap. He can scrap for real. He can knock down Padley, though again, last minute replacement. But he's with broken hands, got a knockout. Went toe-to-toe with Zepeda and beat Zepeda at his own game. Then went toe-to-toe with Shakur, with Tio, and was in the mid-range where Tio operates the best at and nullified everything about him. And cut him up, made him bleed, swelled up his face, and upped the aggression. And he looked like the better offensive fighter and defensive fighter in the fight with the most unique, or one of the most unique and great offensive fighters that this sport has offered today. That was supposed to be your kryptonite. And you beat him to some degree in his own offensive game. And you had him backing up. You were the one that not only felt like you were in control, but that you were all around the straight up better fighter in his own ballpark, in his own city. Both of y'all cities in terms of New York City, but you get what I'm saying. And you beat him clean sweep outside of one round where you took a break. That's it. That's what we want Devin Haney to be like, but that's actually what Shakur is. That's actually what Shakur is doing. Both sides of the coin are getting shine from Shakur because he's embraced that physical aspect about himself. Devin Haney hasn't. And most likely, he never will. Most likely, he never will. But let me see. John Whitting, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. We appreciate you coming in on the stream. Hopefully, you leave a like on the stream. Hopefully, you're sharing the show. We still got a bunch of stuff to talk about, and we want to hear your thoughts and reactions. It's the championship rounds, so we want to hear from you in everything regarding the sport of boxing and beyond. Your voice, your conversation, your debates, and all talk. All of it. I love it. Love to see it. Who will Boots Ennis fight in 2026? That's a good question. That's a good question. That's a great question. It's a great transition. I would say, and I think I've said this before, I think he's fighting Zayas. Fighting Zayas, unified, because Zayas got 2 belts. He's going to fight Zayas in 2026. I think he's going to beat him, and then he becomes a champion. Now that he becomes a champion, he is in positions to get either unified or big fights with other big people. Which, again, it might not be Vergil Ortiz because Vergil Ortiz still on the contract. But that's at least the start of the takeover of the division that I could see for Boots Ennis while Ortiz is on the shelf or still behind bars of still with Golden Boy and having to most likely fight out his whole contract before ultimately he can go to some other promoter and sign with somebody else to make the fight and get the money that he wants for Boots Ennis. Because Oscar isn't going to let him sign. So that's what. But that's what I can see take place. He fights Zayas for unified and takes Zayas' belts if he can beat him. And I think he will beat him. But that's what I see happening in 2026. We thank you for your question. Keep them coming. Absolutely. Let me see. I'm glad IBF strict Janibek. If you ask me, both Janibek and Carlos Adames need to move up. Oh, yes. I forgot about it. Yeah. That's another thing that transpired. If you did not know, Janibek Ali Muhammad has been stripped of his title because he popped dirty. Oh my. Oh Lord. Oh no. Yes, that's right. Janibek, one of the more dominant stars at 160. One of the few stars at 160, but still one of the more dominant ones, who was in line to fight Arizona Lara, has confirmed to be popped dirty or to pop dirty in drug testing and has been stripped of the title, deservedly so, because again, we don't want nobody popping dirty in the sport. And now he is, I think he's going to be banned for like a year. I forget what the full extent of I forget the full extent of the punishment. But either way, he's out the title picture. And the only big time name as a world champion outside of I think Carlos Adames, who is he full blown WBC or is he interim? I can't remember. But either way, it's Arizona Lara. And Janabek versus Lara was the fight to make. But now, most likely, yeah, he's moving up. And I want to see him move up. Because if he moves up, you got Caleb Plant, Jamal Charlo, Canelo Alvarez, Hamzat Shiraz, Edgar Berlanga, Janabek, all in the same division. Now, I'm not saying all of them are equal in status. Oh, and Canelo, lest we forget, Canelo Alvarez at that division as the leading candidate to get his belts back at 168. Absolutely. But the point stands, why that's exciting is because all of those names with a bunch of fights that, mind you, at 160, it was a three-man race, for who runs the division. Now, it's the pack at 168 is filled with different height, statures, and everybody got popping power in some regard. And all of them are gunning for what has never been done. Or rather, all of them are gunning for an opening at a division that has been closed off ever since Canelo got there, which was undisputed. The division is wide open. Canelo is on a decline. Shiraz is there to go and looks like he can be up next. Everybody else feels like they got a shot. And Janabek, at that division, yeah, can make some serious noise and can have matchups galore that we would all care about. Even Carlos Adames, if he moves up to 168, that's just the name in the pot. All of a sudden, 168 goes from there's nobody that can be there's nobody that can be competition to Canelo to now everybody is looking over their shoulder. We got ourselves a real scrap wherever we look, which is perfect. That's great. That's beautiful. That's what we wanted for this division. And if Janabek goes there, yeah, it's going to be fire. Now, granted, it's going to have to be after a year or however long he's banned, but even still, Lord knows we don't want him popping dirty again. And he probably going to get the Ryan Garcia treatment from people saying, we don't trust him. But if he can show to be trustworthy, and he does indeed step up in divisions, yeah, buddy, we got that can be fun. That can be fun. But let me see. Hitchens needs to move up to 147. Once you have to pull over weight, once you have to pull out overweight or rehydration issues, you should have moved up. And I hear you. I absolutely hear you. And in fact, that's actually a bigger issue that bleeds into a conversation that Devin Haney was having with Inside the Ring about this very thing of rehydration. Let me see if I can find the clip real quick while we're on it. He asked Clarissa Shields, when it comes to rehydrations, how exactly we should see it go about and whether or not they should be long at all. And I think Clarissa Shields and him were like, yeah, they should exist, but I think they should. But let me see if I can find it real quick before I forget. I know he brought it up. Hold on. I'm gonna search it real quick so I can tell you exactly what Devin Haney said. Devin Haney. I know he asked them, they were on a panel. Here we go. I found it. Yep. I know it was here. Let me show you what Devin Haney said in regards to rehydration clauses, which leads into this conversation with Richardson Hitchens involving why they should or should not exist. It just took me a second to find it real quick. But here we go. I got it now. So let me play it for you all so you can see exactly what Clarissa Shields and with agreement from Devin Haney, what they both feel in response to this type of conversation.
To be the boss.
So you go up and weigh, and you go down and weigh, and you're like, you think other fighters should do the same. Tell me, what do you think about like rehydration clauses?
That's just stupid. I don't think that they should even exist. Okay, an example, if I go down to 60 and fight against Michaela Mayer, which I'm thinking we're gonna do it because it's a great fight, and I know I can beat her, even though I'm gonna be a little weight drained, but whatever. Go down to 160, right? Boom. I'm not gonna let her put a hydration clause on me because I know the science behind it.
Yeah.
How much is a gallon of water? You know how much weight that is?
8 pounds.
It's 8 pounds. So you telling me I can drink a gallon of water and eat one or two meals? That's 10 pounds. You're not putting that's not healthy. That's not safe for me. I'm not gonna do that. If we fight up at a weight class, whatever I hydrate to, it is what it is. I fought Franchina at 175. I don't know what she came in the ring at. She was huge. She was huge.
So at a press conference, Shadeja Green, the ring's #1 ranked super middleweight, said a fight between you two would be a
To be the boss.
So you
And again, that was the whole clip, but it brought up a conversation that, now honestly, we were supposed to talk about that. We were supposed to talk about that earlier in the week, but stuff got left off because news was breaking. But still, this valid conversation of hydration, or rehydration rather, should it or should not exist? And as you can see, a pound of water is 8 pounds, or a gallon of water is 8 pounds, so I can't rehydrate 8 pounds just drinking what I need, a gallon of water, just to get my body fully somewhat back to its full form. That's dangerous for me. That's not what I want to happen. And so I shouldn't have to take rehydrations, and they shouldn't exist for fighters because they risk them being in a danger to when in a fight, they can be put in trouble. And I completely understand that. I completely get that. And I don't want people to be put in a situation where they cannot be fully at their best going into a life or death situation, because that's what boxing is. It's a life or death situation. Even if you don't want to admit it, that's the truth. It is a life or death situation where one punch can change your life. And we've seen it before. That is not the issue, because it's completely valid. But that's exactly why these rehydration limits exist, because it's supposed to make it so that there is as close of a fairness to boxing as possible. We are not diminishing. You moving up and down in weight isn't impressive, and we want to see people be able to do that. At the same breath, for these types of fights, the rehydration limit is to make it so that you, who are naturally closer to a middleweight, light heavyweight, or heavyweight, when you are fully be able to get at your best, it makes it so that doesn't happen. Clarissa Shields even said herself, when she came in, she fought at 175 against somebody. I think she said Chelsea Green. And she didn't know what the world. Chelsea Green came in on fight night. She was huge. And she was huge on the fight night because she was able to rehydrate fully. But the point is, if you had a rehydration clause, guess what? That disparity wouldn't have taken place in the same regard. And it would have made the playing, even though you beat her, the playing field physically would have been on an even track. And you wouldn't be saying, my gosh, what the world did she come in as? I'm not trying to detract from the fact that the health of the fighter is not important. It is. But the whole point of rehydration clauses and the whole point of weight limits as a whole should be, and is to be, that the fights are as even as possible. It should be. And yes, Tank used them, and we talked about, you used the rehydration clause against Tank Davis. You used the rehydration clause against Ryan Garcia and Mario Barr. I think he used it against Mario Barros. Well, actually, let me look it up really before I even say that. I know they used it against that. He used it against Ryan Garcia, rehydration clause and all that stuff. And it's like, but then you fight at 140 where you could have fought above. So why'd you give Ryan a rehydration clause when you already had the capacity to fight up to 140 and potentially beyond, and we all knew it? It was like, yeah, we remember that whole debate. But the main structure is fairness. And we want fighters to fight as close to their walk around weight so that you can be at your best. They can be at their best. And we're not having weight bully allegations taking place. We're not having people, a lot of rather, let me rephrase that. Mind you, a lot of the talk when it comes to weight bully, weight draining, all that stuff is the brother came in at 100, at what, 220 on fight night. Brother came in at 180 on fight night. Ryan Garcia came in at about 170 something on fight night. Devin Haney came in at 180 something, fighting at 135. What the world? Or something along those lines. How can we let that happen? It's supposed to be that we make it so that the stricter limit on weight classes make it so that you have to. If you can move up or down, great. But at the same issue, the strictness makes it so that you don't get this advantage that you should not be here. And you are able to skirt around. I'll just drop the weight and then make it back by the night of the fight. Oh, okay. 2 or 3 weight classes above what's going on now. That's why partially I understand where Tank's coming from when he says, they too big up there, quote unquote. I'm not gonna fight somebody that's a light heavyweight when they get in the ring with me. Though, again, he can fight higher than his weight class, and we've seen him do it before. The notion I understand. And because of that, for me, that's why I see the strict limits and, again, rehydration clauses as a thing for all weight classes. I could understand that as an across-the-board issue. We want you to get back healthy, but only up to a certain point. I get it. I understand. And I see the argument. But ultimately, we want it so that we can get people fighting closer to where they're supposed to, without making it so that we're putting fighters in danger. Because of the fact that we want to see you at your best, we want you to be where you are supposed to be. And if you can go and make the weight and still win with, again, as much of an even playing field as possible, even under your weight class, I understand that makes it even more impressive. Because it's hard. That's the level of discipline that's incredible. Legitimately. But it is like we can't say that we want the sport to be as even as possible and then say rehydration clauses shouldn't exist. You know what I'm saying? To some degree. Because in that point, where in the world is the only place it shouldn't be a hard cap is heavyweight. Because the heavyweight is, by what the division has always been, however big you can come past 200 pounds, it is what it is. The biggest of men get in the ring with the biggest of men, or biggest of women get in the ring with biggest of women, vice versa. And big men duking it out straight up. Part of the reason why it's a spectacle, because you don't know how big somebody can get in the ring with. Because then there is no limit. I'm fine with that. But if you're telling me there's a difference between one weight class and another, you know what I think, and again, speculation, what I think should be is that the weight class, the rehydration for weight classes should be contingent on how high it is up to the next weight class. That's the thing, because we know both people can come in bigger. We know we want you to get reacclimated. So up to is where you can rehydrate to, or something along those lines. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying just as an idea. So you fight at 122, you can rehydrate up to 126 or up to 125. And then past that problem. You hydrate at 130, you come in the weight at 130, you can get up to 134. And then past that problem. Come in at 140, you can rehydrate up to 146 and then stop. That way you can still get your weight back, but you ain't coming up and you ain't at 160. And that forces people to be where they're supposed to be in a more refined way. At least as an idea. I'm not saying it's perfect. Be clear, I'm not saying it's perfect. But it's in a way that would at least do what we as fans have been saying needs to happen, where fighters fight where they're supposed to fight. Where you are, where you're supposed to be. And that makes sure that if boxers, you got a problem with it being that this rehydration is too much. This rehydration is too stringent. It puts me in danger. Well, guess what that means? You shouldn't be fighting down there. You know what I'm saying? Or at least if you want to say, okay, 15 pounds is where you can rehydrate to, it gives both people a fair shot to get fully healthy without going overboard. If you want to say that, okay, fine. If you want to say that, that's fine. That's the easiest thing I can say. Because we know multiple fighters come in well above what they can be. We know that. So we can say up to 15 pounds. You can come in. That seems fair. As an across the board. And then beyond that, we have a problem. Or 12, or whatever number you want to say. A percentage of the weight from your weight class to the next one is how high you can go up to. After that, can't go up no more. That seems fair, knowing the structure that we see boxers come in at these lower weight classes as they move up before they get to where they actually walk around. Then beyond that, we got ourselves a problem. But something of that regimen makes it so that it's what we're supposed to do, at least in my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, just my thoughts on it. And Fredo, I'm glad that you seem like you agree. And I want to know who was the most talented fighter who was not the best. I want to know who's the most talented fighter is not who is the best at rehydrate. That's the thing. And skills pay the bills. Size shouldn't matter. We understand that sentiment. But to some degree, you can't talk about the skills of a fighter in the purest way, because it's always going to come up. The brother came in 20 pounds over, 30 pounds over. Mind you, heavyweight Usyk fought Fury with a 30-pound weight difference, which is insane. I'm sorry, 40-pound weight difference, which is ridiculous. But that's heavyweight, where there's no limit. If you mean to tell me I said Devin Haney beat Lomachenko, but on the night of the fight, Devin Haney, if I said that Devin Haney beat Lomachenko, but on the night of the fight, Devin Haney was 180, and Lomachenko on the night of the fight weighed 140, that changes the perspective on what that fight was for a lot of people. And you can't even talk about the fight itself because you're saying, my gosh, how in the world did Devin Haney even make weight down here? And why is he not up there with Artur Benavidez? That was the thing with Benavidez. Were we not saying that with Benavidez? Benavidez is making 168. He's way too big for this division. He should be at heavyweight. Wasn't that the claim? And wasn't that the detraction for why Benavidez was what he was? Even now he's shown moving up in weight. Okay, yeah, I'm still the same monster. So it don't matter about weight classes. I'm just that good. But even still, that was one of the things that was held against him. We couldn't talk about his talent in the way that we wanted to. Or people couldn't look at the talent purely for the talent because they were saying, my gosh, I see why Canelo doesn't want to fight him because he's 190 pounds. He doesn't belong in this division. That's what the public was saying. We can't have the purity of what this sport wants to be viewed as. Or rather, we can't have the purity of talking about the sport from the talent perspective because it gets muddied by the weight issues without the structure of at least a somewhat fair playing field even on the day of the fight. That's why people did same-day weigh-ins. Same-day weigh-ins. People coming in, same-day weight. You had to, not the night of, or not the day before, the day of. Hours before the fight, you had to make sure you were on weight so that we kept it as close to even keeled by the time you stepped in the ring, without you having a day or two to blow up, or rather a day to blow up fully, vastly beyond the weight. This is not me saying I want fighters to be unsafe. This is me saying we can't have it both ways. We can't have it both ways. You can't complain about somebody being too big for a division and then complain about a weight class or complain about a fighter having a rehydration clause. You can't do that. And even I've said that Devin Haney was weight drained when he fought against Ryan Garcia. He was. Why? Because at 135, yeah, if he couldn't rehydrate up, the brother was a skeleton. He was. And to some degree, Tank said, yeah, we're not going to let that slide this time. You're going to come in around where I'm at, legitimately, we're going to fight. Ryan Garcia still took it. Ryan Garcia lost. Understandable, but even still, we saw, okay, yeah, he is. He's not just big for the division, just as an expression. No, he should be higher. Devin Haney looking like a skeleton. Jaron Ennis looking like a skeleton. And then coming in afterwards, my gosh, but huge, a bodybuilder compared to his opponent. What in the world happened? You can't have it both ways. It's got to be some level of structure to make it so that we get the skills as the main source of recourse when it comes to talking about fighters in the world of boxing. Because if that's not the case, this same issue of conversation is going to keep on rolling over and over again. Over and over and over again. And we're never going to get it figured out. People are always going to be disappointed. Somebody's always going to have something to say. And Clarissa, you're going to be put in the same boat of, I can't believe she came in that big. And then you're going to be doing it to somebody else. And it's like, that wasn't fair in both instances. You talking about you going to fight 160 with Michaela Mayer. You fought at heavyweight. You're not going to be 160 when you step in the ring with Michaela Mayer. Even though she won't be either, you'll probably be drastically bigger than her. Drastically bigger. I'm not saying that in negative light. I'm saying with you, we've seen where you got up to. So like, if anything for Michaela Mayer, it would be fair to have a rehydration clause. So we don't get you coming in at 180 something. For the women's division, coming in at heavyweight, which is past 175. Which you can easily get up to because you fought there, I think, twice. It's common sense, at least to me. Even if you don't agree, that the argument should be understood that rehydration is not to diminish the sport, but it's to force fighters to be where they're supposed to be. Even if you think you shouldn't exist, or even if you think it shouldn't exist, it should not be seen as outrageous. That we're saying there's a problem with being able to go and fight somebody and they come into the ring the day of and they are 2 to 3 weight classes above where you are supposed to be fighting for a title. You're fighting the equivalent of the champion at middleweight, which would be Janabek in this situation if you were fighting welterweight. or lightweight, super lightweight, we can at least say that that's a problem. We can at least say that's a problem. And that something should be done in that regard. At least to me, in my estimation. But again, I don't want to join on too long. Like I said, I talked way too long for that conversation. I do apologize. I was trying to get my point across. I was too long-winded. I do apologize on that front. Don't want to bore you, my gosh. So we want to go back and want to make sure you all got something to say. It is 2 hours and 30 minutes. So we're going to do the last call for the World of the Championship rounds. We want to hear from you on anything regarding the world of sports and beyond, or any news, topics, discussions, debates, and any other questions involving the world of sports. And straight up, honestly, interest as a whole, if you so choose to have something to say. If you don't, it's completely fine. There's no issue there. We're just saying we want to do, or we want to see exactly what you have to say on the day and have your chance to have your voice be heard and seen across the globe. Uh-oh. What's this? From Ness Stocks and Swords. Wait a minute. Is this true? Hold on a second. I'm sorry, we just saw something with Boots Ennis. In terms of, you remember that sparring with Boots and Canelo to prepare for Terrence Crawford? This may have just given some insight, or rather some breaking news from that sparring incident as to what exactly Boots was able to do in that fight, or in that sessions, that kind of helps to further separate him from the rest of the pack. No, hold on. There we go. Make sure the brother can see. Okay, yeah, we can see.
Yo, look at emoji. 3 Cuban flag emojis. Boots don't want that. Well, I have been DM'd by sources that tell me Yo-Yo don't want that fight. That Yo-Yo got his face beat up in sparring. And that's why Yo-Yo told the world that Boots hits harder than Canelo, because Yo-Yo got beat up in sparring. And if Yo-Yo thinks that's not true, tell him get down to 54. Because Boots already played. Someone say Yo.
Oh shoot! Now a minute, we're talking about Yo-Yo is a reference to Yanni Hernandez, or I think it's Yoanel Hernandez. If I'm saying that correctly, mind you, very big power puncher. I believe between the ranks of middleweight and super middleweight, that I believe we talked about, and we actually even watched on one of the live streams in one of the other which card was that we saw it on? I'm trying to remember which card we saw him fight on when it was kind of my debut in seeing him fight. Incredibly powerful, incredibly big. I mean, they built like a brick house. A lot of people were saying that he was going to be one of the next destructive forces in the boxing world. I'm pulling up his picture because some people may not know exactly who he is. But I think it's Yoanel Hernandez. Yeah, this buddy. Yeah, okay, I'm thinking of the right buddy. This cat right here. Let me pull it up for you. This man right here. Let me scroll up so you can actually see his face. I reject all that. This buddy. 9-0, 7 KOs. Almost 100% knockout ratio. Made a big splash in the ranks of boxing early on. And we seen, we saw him fight and knock out like a Kirion Davis and going through and really put pressure and got some pop. Insane level pop. I got to see this legit. This brother can crack. And people talking about him as one of the next big faces in the world of boxing as a whole in the bigger divisions. At middleweight, people saying watch out for him. He was helping train Canelo and was in that whole camp with Boots. Boots in was sparring as well. And apparently, per the boxing voice, this brother got the brakes beat off of him. And hence why he doesn't want to fight him. When apparently, again, allegedly, per the boxing voice, they might have been able to go maybe get in the ring with each other at one point in time. And so if that's the case, that's why Hernandez never actually fought the likes of Boots Ennis and was never one of the big names that actually got there when Boots was moving up to 154. And if that's the case, oh my, he might actually be scared. And if he carrying that type of power, my gosh, to put one of the biggest punchers at this point in time at 160 into a point where he is sketchy to want to get in the ring with him. That shows just about, this brother's building on the reputation. This man might be a different breed. But he's doing that to Hernandez. Because you backing up Hernandez with how he's able to crack. Yeah, that's something different. That's something different. He's doing this just coming up from 154. Telling you, the bigger this brother gets, the stronger he's going to be. And the more dominant he's going to be over the course of his boxing career. Be on the lookout. He's a dog, man. He's a real dog. He's going to be hunting for everybody. It's going to be insane to see. Mark my words, it's going to be incredible. But even still, anything else anybody wants to say on the matter, any other talks or conversation that you want to have in the realm of boxing that you would like to incur upon the globe, if not, it's okay. We'll have to show up and we'll send it home. We're not going to overstay our welcome. We're just going to appreciate the time that we had being here. And we thank you all for joining in. And we thank you all for tuning into the show. And with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me. No, wait, there we go. Okay, almost cut out my camera. With me, your host, John Luke. We thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this Friday edition of The Watchable. We love that you were here for the ride with us on today. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully I didn't bore you. Hopefully you had some fun. Hopefully you had a time. Hopefully you went and enjoyed all of the festivities with us. Appreciate you all tuning in on the show with us today. Please go ahead and leave a like on the video before you leave. Keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions on what we got on the show, on what you liked or didn't like, so we can go and make it better for you to witness and enjoy every single time out. Rate us 5 stars on your podcasting platform. Be sure to go and subscribe to the channel. Come join the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube. Don't forget, March Madness is here. At this point in time, we got people, we got games going on left, right, and center. Have your televisions tuned in, because my gosh, Lord knows, this year's going to be as unpredictable as it can get. We got a bunch of other fights this weekend. If you are not privy to, on top of Tyson Fury versus Ahmad Ali happening, you got I thought Sebastian Fedor was this weekend. It's not. Thank gosh, I almost got scared for a second. But we got Arnold Barboza fighting tomorrow, going up against Kenneth Smith Jr. We got Oscar Collazo going up against Jesus Haro for the WBO strawweight titles. Oh, and WBA, that's going to be a unification. Gabriela Fundora fights again tonight for the undisputed fights again tomorrow for the undisputed flyweight championships of the world. James Dickens is fighting Anthony Casase. I think we saw, there's somebody, there's one more fight that's coming on that I want to make sure I don't miss. Where is it at? Ah, that's what it was. Carlos Adames versus. No, that's not this weekend. That's next weekend. I'm moving too far ahead of myself. Carlos Adames is fighting next weekend. So rephrase that. Scratch that from your mind up until March 21st. That's my apologies. Got too ahead of myself, but even still, it's going to be a phenomenal time. It's going to be a phenomenal whole host of fights. Great fights are bound to give right out Booger, and we appreciate you tuning in for the ride. But again, like we said, we got to get out of here. One last call. Cash App and PayPal, links down below. Super chats and super gifts if you want to support the channel in the description. We love you. We appreciate you. We're going to be back next Tuesday, covering more of the boxing world and the sports world as a whole, all together with some fun, forever action, debates, and conversation, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. But I've been John Luke Watch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. Peace and love. Oh, we are out of here. Yes, sir. We are going to see you all on Tuesday. Be safe. Be blessed. Salute to you. And we out of here.